Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to this presentation, which is going to talk you through the after stage of finishing a GLP-1 agonist, uh, such as Ozempic. Now, these medications are designed to control your appetite, which is all very well and good once you're losing the weight. But what then happens afterwards? Well, this presentation is going to give you some options and some clarity of what the next step will be for yourself. Instead of focusing on this as a long-term solution, what can we do to use a GLP-1 to help kickstart your progress and then start getting back into normal habits of being able to control your own body? So the truth about regain after a GLP-1 is ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hormone which is getting suppressed at this point, which basically means that you don't have as high of an appetite. These medications work by mimicking the GLP-1 hormone, which suppresses your appetite and regulates your blood sugar, which also slows down the gastric emptying of your stomach. Okay. Now, I always refer to ghrelin as greedy ghrelin because it is one of those hormones which creates you to be more greedy in some ways, the bottomless pit, the hunger that cannot be satiated. But there are lots of things that we can do within your appetite and your daily lifestyle that can also help with this as well, as opposed to an injectable medication. Is it all about willpower? No, it's about preparation as well. Now, willpower is quite a broad topic, and I'm sure there are lots of people out there that struggle with their weight but have very good, strong willpower in other areas of their life. So, what is it that is actually holding you back? The key factor here, the real success, depends heavily on your lifestyle, your changes that you have done day to day, which will help with your weight loss journey. If you haven't established a sustainable habit whilst being on these medications, it becomes incredibly easy to slip back into those old patterns. So we want to use the GLP-1 agonist to help you build those sustainable lifestyle habits. This is the mindset shift that you need to get into. Stop thinking of the GLP-1 as the solution for your weight loss and instead view it as something that gave you the space and the time to build those good habits. Yeah? Your bridge for lasting change. Those habits need to be instilled for this to be a sustainable process. So the 5 key habits that I want you to focus on for maintaining your weight after a GLP-1: protein first, nutrition. Okay, we'll go into that in more detail, but protein helps to fight your hunger. Resistance training. Protect your muscle and your metabolism. If we lose muscle, your metabolism slows down. Daily movement. This is going to be a non-negotiable for the going forward. We need to have consistency with movement, walking, cycling, running, some form of activity. Balance your meals properly. We want fiber and healthy fats for fullness. And then the last one, possibly the most important one, sleep and stress management. These are often incredibly overlooked for people that don't struggle with their weight as well, but often when people have been struggling with their weight for some time, their sleep is also off as well. It's all connected. So let's jump into the first one: protein. Even off medications, protein remains your best friend when it comes to weight maintenance. It controls your hunger, stabilizes your blood sugars, and prevents muscle mass from being lost, which helps to support your metabolism. The golden rule: try and aim for 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal, especially for breakfast and lunch. These are the meals early on in the day, which, if you give your body the signal for protein, means that you're going to have less hunger throughout the later parts of the day. Starting your day with protein significantly reduces the likelihood of overeating later on. Remember, protein isn't just for building muscle and bodybuilders in the gym. It is a primary tool for appetite control, which is what you've been using GLP-1s for. Try and aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you are currently 180 pounds, you'll be aiming for 180 grams of protein. Nice and simple. Habit number 2 is exercise. Now, we do want to resistance train. Doesn't have to be hugely extensive, doesn't have to be every single day of the week. It could be something as simple as resistance bands or bodyweight exercises. But whilst you're losing weight, you will be losing both fat and muscle unless you're eating enough protein or resistance training. Without rebuilding muscle, your metabolism slows down. because our muscle is active tissue. This makes weight regain much, much easier because you're no longer maintaining on 1800 calories. The more muscle you lose, you're now maintaining on 1500 calories or 1400 calories. The goal is to do 2 to 3 strength training sessions per week, ideally with weights in a gym. If you don't have access to that, resistance bands or body weight exercises. This will help maintain lean mass and your metabolism. Habit number 3 is daily movement. We do not need to be doing intense cardio every single day or intense workouts every single day, but movement is a non-negotiable. Walking, cycling, stretching, doing some activities that help to regulate your insulin and improve your mood is going to reduce down cravings, because a lot of the time cravings are also linked to mood. Walk after a meal. Even just a 10-minute walk after a meal will massively help. 7 to 10,000 steps daily for optimal glucose stabilization rhythm. Okay, and that would be spread throughout the whole day. One thing to remember is every 1,000 steps is about a 10-minute walk. So you can do the math on that, but if you spread it out throughout the day, it's a lot easier to manage. Habit number 4 is balancing our meals with fiber and fats. Appetite control beyond protein is fiber and healthy fats together. These help to slow down your digestive system and promote lasting fullness. Also, another part of the GLP-1 system that helps you to regulate your appetite, the slowing of the gastric emptying. So what we can do with this is vegetables, maybe roasted in olive oil. We could do lentils with avocado. We could do berries with almonds, combining fibrous carbohydrate sources with healthy fats. If your meals are mostly refined carbohydrates, you'll feel more hungry more quickly. Think about the size of a packet of chips, for example, versus a potato. One will fill you up, the other is going to dissolve into mush and pass through your digestive system incredibly quickly. It might satisfy a small salt craving, but it will pass through your digestive system so quickly that you're going to be hungry again in a few minutes. Habit number 5, complete nutrition and lifestyle habits. This is adequate sleep to get your metabolic system in a good place. This is effective stress management to guard yourself against emotional eating. Prioritize your sleep to get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night. And that doesn't mean you're going to go to bed at 12 midnight and wake up at 7 a.m. That is a small sleeping window and it is 7 hours, but you do not sleep those full 7 hours. You go in and out of cycles and it takes time to get to sleep. So ideally, give yourself more than 7 to 8 hours in bed. Each night is essential for regulating your hormones, controlling hunger, and also your metabolism. Insufficient sleep elevates your cortisol levels, increases your cravings, and makes weight management more challenging. When we look at chronic stress, which can be linked to poor sleep, these significantly impact your body's way of being able to regulate cortisol, which can lead to increased hunger and emotional eating. Incorporating intentional stress reduction practices such as breath work, journaling, therapy, or faith practices can support this success. So, when should you come off a GLP-1 medication? Now, this is going to be very individual to multiple different people, but these are some of the things to consider. Build your foundation first. Only stop when you've been able to maintain your weight for about 2 to 3 months of consistent, sustainable habits without relying on the medication for appetite control. So on a small dose. 2, be completely honest with yourself and have a self-assessment. If you are still skipping meals, avoiding exercises, or emotionally eating, you're not ready to stop yet. That's not a judgment, it's just a simple data from experience. If you're still in this loop, it's not time yet. The right time. When to stop. When you're nearly at your goal and you genuinely feel prepared to have your lifestyle modifications independently without GLP-1 support, then it could be time to come off GLP-1s. The next step, if you do regain weight, it's okay. These things happen. Weight fluctuations are completely normal, and regaining a few pounds doesn't mean you failed. In fact, you are going to regain a few pounds initially, because you're probably going to be starting to eat more food, which will mean that you hold on to more water retention, which will mean that you have more glycogen in your muscle systems as well. So firstly, don't panic. Respond effectively to what this has done to your weight. Major life changes often disrupt routines, which can cause weight to creep back up. The key is to respond to these strategies properly. We want to return to the 5 pillars before: your activity, your protein, your sleep, your stress management. We want to recommit to strength training potentially as well. Track your food intake. Probably one of the biggest goals with this would be tracking your food intake and making sure that what you're doing is staying at a maintenance level. If you need to work out your maintenance calories, you can go onto Google, type in calorie calculator, and it'll punch you out some numbers. Restore structure of your lifestyle, getting the activity on a regular basis, eating your meals at a regular time, and going to bed at the same sort of time. Routine can help or hinder your progress. You can get into a positive routine, which can really be positive to help, or you can get into a negative routine and the habits that come along with that. You don't necessarily need to restart medication unless hunger becomes completely unmanageable or you're trending upwards consistently over several months. Play the long game with this. Trust yourself and allow there to be room to course correct along this process. A few pounds here and there, you have the structure, you have the ability, you have the plan to be able to come back down with those in your weight. So, the next step for your success. Now, there are prescription programs that your doctor or practitioner can put you on, and a lot of the time they suggest a maintenance dose, which could also be the process of starting to come off a GLP-1, lowering the dose. The goal isn't to jump straight back into the deep end with high amounts of cravings and making your life more difficult. We want to slowly lower the dose to the point that you have control again. If you're thinking that this process has enlightened you and you would like to have a little bit more of an understanding of what it is that I do with my clients, the Ignition Point is the perfect opportunity for you. This is the best way to kickstart your journey towards a healthier and more educated you. I have hundreds of client success stories and a full results or money back guarantee. The promotion that I'm offering at the moment is the first month for £99. You can try out the system and get the ball rolling on your goals. If that is something that you don't like, there is no obligation to continue. I have only 4 spots available and it expires on the 15th of October. So just have a little think about that. If it's the right thing for you, drop me a message on Instagram and we'll talk further. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay informed, and remember that you've got this. Your weight loss journey is personal to you, and it begins with being healthier and more confident. I will speak to you in the next one. Remember to eat your protein, do your cardio, and be nice to people. See you. Bye-bye.